Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever felt like the weight of the world is on your shoulders because of someone's actions? You're struggling, they've hurt you, but it feels like no justice is ever served? Well, what if I told you that there is a force, a power greater than you or me that's already working behind the scenes to bring justice to your pain? That's right. God is dealing with those who have hurt you. And if you pay attention, if you truly listen to the signs, you'll realize that He's been at work in your life all along. Stay with me, because what I'm about to tell you could change everything. We've all been there. Someone does us wrong, and it feels like the world is crashing down. And you want to fight back, you want to retaliate, but here's the truth, you don't have to. The divine intervention you need is already in place. God sees the hurt, He knows your pain, and He's dealing with it in ways that you might not even realize. The 7 signs I'm going to share with you are proof that He's moving. Healing through divine intervention is one of the most powerful yet often overlooked aspects of life. When we face hurt, betrayal, or injustice, it's natural to want to seek revenge or handle the situation ourselves. We want to make sure the person who hurt us faces consequences. We want to see them suffer in the same way we did. But here's the thing. Sometimes the greatest form of healing comes not from our own hands, but from divine intervention. When we're hurt, we carry a burden, a weight on our hearts and minds. This burden can consume us, cloud our thoughts, and affect our relationships. We find ourselves trapped in a cycle of anger and resentment. We replay the painful moments over and over in our minds, thinking about what we could have done differently or what we wish we had said. But this emotional turmoil only keeps us tied to the hurt, preventing us from moving forward. We become prisoners of our own pain. This is where the divine steps in. Healing through divine intervention is not about ignoring the hurt or pretending it never happened. It's about acknowledging the pain, facing it, but allowing a higher power to guide us through the process of healing. There's a profound release that comes when you surrender that hurt to God, trusting that He sees and understands the depth of your pain. It's not about forgetting, it's about finding peace in the midst of the storm. When we allow God to intervene, we open ourselves up to a process of healing that goes beyond what human efforts can achieve. God has a way of healing wounds that no amount of time, therapy, or self-help can do. His healing is deep, personal, and transformative. It doesn't just patch up the surface, it touches the core of who we are. We are healed not just from the immediate pain, but from the scars that could have carried the hurt for a lifetime. This divine healing often comes in unexpected ways. You might notice that your anger, once all-consuming, starts to dissipate. You may wake up one day and realize that the person who hurt you no longer has the power to control your emotions. The pain may not completely disappear overnight, but you will feel lighter, your mind becomes clearer, and your heart begins to heal. The feelings of bitterness and resentment that once seemed so overwhelming begin to lose their grip on you. What's even more profound is that this healing doesn't just change you on the inside, it starts to show in your life. You begin to see things differently. You approach life with more grace, more empathy, and more understanding. You're no longer defined by the hurt that was done to you. Instead, you start to see the world through a lens of compassion. You may even find yourself forgiving those who wronged you, not because they deserve it, but because you understand that holding on to the pain only continues to harm you. Healing through divine intervention is not about excusing the wrong that was done to you. It's about trusting that God is bigger than the hurt. It's about knowing that God sees the full picture while we often only see a small part of the story. It's about understanding that His justice, His timing, and His plan are far greater than anything we can try to orchestrate on our own. This is where true freedom lies, not in seeking revenge, but in trusting that God is working behind the scenes. He's healing the pain, He's restoring what was broken, and He's preparing you for a future beyond your imagination. The healing process may take time, but the peace that comes with divine intervention is worth every moment. It's a peace that surpasses all understanding, a peace that lets you move forward with your life without the heavy burden of past wounds weighing you down. And that, my friend, is the power of God's healing hand. When God is dealing with those who hurt you, one of the most powerful signs you will notice is an unexpected peace that begins to settle within your heart. This peace doesn't come from anything you have done or any effort you've made. It is not something that can be manufactured or forced through sheer willpower. It is the kind of peace that transcends all understanding, a peace that defies the circumstances surrounding you. This is the divine peace that only God can provide, and when it arrives, it signals that He is at work in your life, bringing healing and transformation. When someone wrongs you, the natural response is often a wave of emotions: anger, sadness, frustration, and sometimes even bitterness. You may replay the hurtful words or actions in your mind, and it can seem as though the pain will never subside. The emotional toll of carrying that weight can be exhausting, but when God steps in and begins His work of healing, that emotional turmoil starts to diminish. In its place, you begin to feel a deep sense of calm, an internal stillness that you may not have known was possible. This peace is not the absence of pain. It doesn't mean that the hurt is gone or that you no longer care about what happened. Rather, it is the ability to move forward without being shackled to the emotions that once held you captive. It's the realization that while the situation may not have been ideal, you no longer have to live in the peace that comes from God helps you to let go of the negative emotions that kept you tied to the pain and allows you to breathe again. In the process of healing, this peace also shifts your perspective. You begin to see the situation and even the person who hurt you through a different lens. Rather than focusing on the offense, you are able to see the bigger picture, the brokenness that might have led the other person to act the way they did. This doesn't justify their actions, but it opens your heart to the possibility of empathy. It allows you to recognize that hurt people, and their actions may have stemmed from their own wounds and struggles. When this peace settles into your heart, you will also notice that your relationships start to change. You may begin to interact with others in a way that is more grounded and compassionate. The bitterness that once clouded your interactions gives way to a more loving and understanding nature. You may find yourself more willing to forgive, not because the person who hurt you deserves it, but because you understand that forgiveness is the key to your own freedom. This peace also creates space for God to work in other areas of your life. As the internal chaos fades, you become more attuned to the direction God is guiding you. You may begin to feel a renewed sense of purpose, as if the burden of the past no longer hinders your ability to move forward. The peace that you experience becomes the foundation upon which you can build a brighter future. It's a peace that allows you to dream again, to hope again, and to trust in God's plan for your life. The unexpected peace that comes when God is dealing with those who hurt you is a sign that the healing process is underway. It is a divine reassurance that even though the hurt may still be there, you are no longer defined by it. You are not being held captive by the pain, and the divine peace that fills your heart becomes the ultimate sign that God is working on your behalf. When God begins to deal with those who have hurt you, one of the clearest and most significant signs you will notice is that the situation itself begins to change. Life has a way of seeming stagnant when we are hurt, as if the wrongs done to us will never be righted and the pain will never end. But when divine intervention is at work, you will see that circumstances begin to shift in ways that are beyond your control. You will witness events unfold that you never could have orchestrated on your own, and those situations which seemed hopeless begin to turn in your favor. The first thing to understand is that God's timing is perfect. We may not see it immediately, and we may not always understand the method in which He is working, but when God moves, things change. People's attitudes toward you will change. Those who may have turned a blind eye to your pain, or perhaps even added to it, may suddenly become aware of the hurt they caused. Relationships that once seemed strained or broken may begin to heal in ways that seem miraculous. Some of the problems we face are often devoid of God, His intention. It's not always about dramatic confrontation or a grand resolution. Sometimes it's a subtle but powerful shift that happens gradually as God begins to orchestrate the pieces of your life for a greater purpose. You might also notice that the person who hurt you begins to face their own set of challenges. This isn't about wishing ill upon them, but rather about recognizing that God is just and His justice is perfect. While you might have wanted to see them suffer in the same way you did, God's justice works differently. Instead of you taking matters into your own hands, God allows the situation to unfold in a way that brings about their own lessons and consequences. This shift is not about revenge, but about divine retribution, where the wrongdoer faces the results of their actions in ways that they may not expect. They may begin to experience struggles in their own life, whether it's in their relationships, their career, or their health. Reminders that no one can escape the consequences of their choices. It is God's way of showing that He does not let evil go unaddressed. To discuss these reflections takes some time and effort or grace, to think things through before saying something. But the change in the situation isn't just about the person who wronged you. You too will start to see a shift in your life. As God works in the background, you will begin to notice that your circumstances improve in ways that you never imagined. The doors that were previously closed start to open. Opportunities that once seemed out of reach suddenly seem possible. Your perspective on life begins to transform, and where there was once hopelessness, you now find hope. And our hope expands every day in the sunlight. The weight of the hurt that was holding you back is slowly lifted, and you feel more empowered to move forward. The change in the situation could also manifest in unexpected blessings. As God deals with those who have hurt you, He may bring new relationships into your life, people who uplift and encourage you. You may find yourself in a place of new purpose, with renewed strength to pursue your dreams. What once felt like a setback may turn out to be a stepping stone, as God positions you for a greater future that you couldn't have planned for yourself. Your pain is no longer a hindrance, but a tool in God's hands, helping to shape the person He intends you to become. In all of this, you will begin to realize that the situation you were once so consumed by was never in your hands to begin with. God is the one who changes hearts, situations, and lives. The fact that the situation begins to shift is the ultimate sign that He has taken control and is working everything together for your good. It's not your responsibility to fix it or to make it right. That's God's job. And when you witness these changes unfold, you'll know deep in your heart that God is truly dealing with those who have hurt you. When God is dealing with those who have hurt you, another profound sign of His intervention is the increase in your strength. The emotional wounds you carry after someone hurts you can leave you feeling broken, fragile, and vulnerable. It may feel like a part of you is missing, or that you're unable to move forward, weighed down by the past. However, when God steps in to heal and deal with those who have wronged you, He doesn't just restore you to your former self. He strengthens you in ways that you never thought possible. His divine power works in you, reshaping you into someone who is not just healed, but empowered, resilient, and unshakable. In the midst of the pain and hurt, it's easy to feel weak, as though you have nothing left to give. It can feel like you've been drained, like your energy and enthusiasm have been completely sapped away by the actions of others. You might wonder how you will ever move forward, or if you'll ever find the strength to face each new day. But what's amazing about God's intervention is that even in the most challenging moments, He provides you with a strength that doesn't come from within yourself. It comes from Him. This strength allows you to keep going when all you want to do is give up. It empowers you to rise up from the ashes, even when the weight of the world seems to be on your shoulders. The strength that God provides is not just about physical endurance, it's about emotional and spiritual resilience. As you go through the healing process, you begin to notice that you are able to handle situations that once would have broken you. Challenges that once seemed insurmountable become manageable. People who used to intimidate you or whose words used to hurt you deeply no longer have the power to affect you in the same way. The divine strength you experience allows you to walk with a sense of calm confidence, knowing that you are supported by a power greater than yourself. This newfound strength also manifests in your ability to forgive. Forgiveness in and of itself is a sign of strength. It's not about excusing the wrong that was done to you. It's about releasing the hold that the hurt has over your life. Forgiveness allows you to let go of bitterness and resentment, freeing yourself from the emotional chains that keep you stuck in the past. But this is not something you can do on your own. It takes strength, a strength that comes from God, to forgive those who have hurt you. As you tap into this strength, you'll find that forgiveness becomes easier, and with it comes an incredible sense of freedom. As your strength increases, you may also notice that you are able to stand up for yourself and for others in a way you never have before. You become more assertive, more confident in your ability to speak your truth and to set boundaries. Where you once may have been passive or fearful of confrontation, you now have the courage to stand firm in your beliefs and protect your peace. You recognize that you don't need to tolerate disrespect or allow others to mistreat you, and this newfound courage is a direct result of God's work in your life. God's strength also equips you to support others who may be going through similar struggles. As you heal, you gain the wisdom and compassion to help others who are hurting. You become a source of encouragement, showing others that healing is possible and that strength can be found, even in the most difficult of circumstances. Your testimony becomes a beacon of hope for others, and your journey of healing becomes a tool that God uses to bless others. The increase in your strength is a sign that God is not just restoring you, but is preparing you for something greater. The challenges you face and the pain you've endured are shaping you into a person who can withstand even more. You are becoming stronger, more resilient, and more equipped to fulfill the purpose God has for your life. When God deals with those who hurt you, He doesn't just restore you to what you were. He builds you into something stronger, someone who is more than capable of overcoming any obstacle. This strength is a reminder that you are never alone in your struggles. God is with you, and through Him you can do all things. Forgiveness is one of the most powerful tools in the healing process when God is dealing with those who have hurt you. It might seem counterintuitive at first. How can you forgive someone who has wronged you so deeply? How can you release them from the debt they owe you, especially when the hurt they caused seems so unfair? Yet forgiveness is not just a gift you give, it is a release from the chains that bind you, and it is the key that unlocks the door to your own healing. When someone hurts you, your natural response might be to hold on to that pain. It feels like if you don't hold on to it, the wrong will go unpunished and the person who hurt you will get away with it. You may feel as though keeping that bitterness alive is a form of protection, a way to guard yourself against further harm. But in reality, this bitterness only keeps you trapped in the past. It keeps you tethered to the hurt. And no matter how much you relive the pain, it doesn't change what happened. It doesn't take away the sting of the words or actions that caused the wound. The anger and resentment you feel do nothing but poison your own peace, keeping you from moving forward and embracing the healing that God has for you. Forgiveness, however, is an act of freedom. It doesn't mean that what was done to you is okay. It doesn't mean you condone the actions that caused you harm. Forgiveness is not about excusing the person or their behavior. It is about setting yourself free from the emotional burden that is weighing you down. When you forgive, you release yourself from the grip of the past. You stop allowing the person who hurt you to continue controlling your emotions and thoughts. You take back your power and you choose peace over pain, joy over bitterness. The process of forgiveness is not easy and it doesn't happen overnight. It's a journey that requires you to confront the hurt and face the raw emotions that come with it. But the beautiful thing is that you don't have to do it on your own. When God is at work in your life, He gives you the strength to forgive. He helps you to let go of the pain and trust that He will take care of the justice. He helps you to see that forgiveness is not a sign of weakness, but a sign of strength. It takes strength to release the anger, the hurt, and the desire for revenge. It takes strength to choose healing over holding on to the past. As you forgive, you will find that it is not only the person who hurt you who benefits, but also you. Forgiveness is like a weight being lifted off your shoulders. The burden that once seemed so heavy begins to lift, and you find yourself feeling lighter and more at peace. Your heart, once filled with resentment, now opens up to the possibility of healing. You begin to experience emotional freedom, and you start to feel the freedom to move forward with your life without the constant weight of the past holding you back. In addition to the emotional freedom, forgiveness also opens the door for God to work in your life in profound ways. As you release others from the hurt they cause, you make room for God to heal you, to restore what was broken, and to bless you with new opportunities. You may find that as you forgive, relationships that were once fractured begin to heal. You may even experience a deeper sense of connection with others as you learn to empathize with their struggles and extend the same grace to them that you've extended to yourself. Forgiveness also has the power to change your heart. It softens the hard places, breaks down the walls that have been built around your emotions, and allows you to experience God's love in a deeper way. When you forgive, you mirror God's own forgiveness toward you. He has forgiven you countless times, and as you forgive others, you reflect His heart of compassion and mercy. Forgiveness is an act of trust. It's a trust that God will take care of the situation. It's a trust that His justice is perfect and that He will make all things right. Forgiveness doesn't mean that the person who hurt you will never face consequences. It means that you are trusting God to handle it. It's about relinquishing control, knowing that God's timing and His way are far better than anything you could try to orchestrate on your own. Forgiveness is a declaration that you trust in God's plan for your life, even when you don't fully understand it. It's a declaration that you are ready to move forward, unburdened, free to embrace the future He has for you. Here's the reality. The pain you're feeling is not something that's going to last forever. But you need to let go. Let go of the bitterness, let go of the resentment, and trust that God is handling it. He's been dealing with those who hurt you, and He's been working on your behalf in ways you never saw coming. If you notice these 7 signs, know that the healing process has already begun. You just need to keep your faith strong and allow God to do His work, because trust me, it's going to be worth it.